Hey everybody, it's Gamer Gramps here. Today we're going to be talking about Civ 6 Deity, specifically how to survive on Civ 6 Deity and prevent the enemy, or at least do everything you can to avoid having the enemies roll over you. So if that sounds like it might be able to help you out, then definitely stick around. If you want to get good at Civ 6, then subscribe and click the bell to keep up with this channel. Alright, so first things first here, pretty much always when I do videos like this, there's going to be timestamps that I'll pin at the top of the comment section so you can jump through the video to go to each section you want to, and you don't have to listen to me ramble if you just want to skip to a certain part that you're interested in. But other than that, we're going to go over everything we're doing here, and then we're going to cover the different ideas and strategies that I would suggest you using when you're first getting comfortable playing on Deity, or even if you are experienced, these tips still do help. So without further ado, let's just get into this here. So I think basically everybody, pretty much everybody anyways, agrees that Tamar of Georgia is the worst civilization that's currently in the game, so we are going to pick her. I think it's important for this tutorial that I play on a civilization that's not very strong and doesn't have any early game strategies, early game strengths. So by playing as Georgia, I'm kind of keeping things on an on a level playing field for people and making it more applicable to random situations. All right, so what we're going to be doing here is I'm going to go over the different ideas and strategies that I would suggest in order to help you survive the early game. I'm going to play a series of games as Georgia because I think everybody can agree that Tamar and her Georgian civilization are pretty much the worst in the game, hands down. So that'll make things a little bit more difficult for me. The other thing we're going to do as well, in all of these games that I do play, we are going to, I should specify, I'm not going to be playing entire games. I'm only going to be playing the ancient era of the game so that we can just, again, talk about the early game strategies and how to survive on DD. So the other thing that I'm going to be doing in these games is in every single game, I'm going to be starting a religion, or at least attempting to get one, obviously. And then on top of that, again, to make it more interesting, is I'm not going to reload or respawn to get a better map. I'm just going to start with whatever it gives me. And then once I played the ancient era in one game, I'm just going to hit the restart button, and then we'll just play with whatever we get. So that'll make it a little bit more difficulty too, so we're not just constantly reloading for a good map. Other than that, though, obviously we are going to be going on to DD difficulty because that's what the video is about. I am going to leave it on standard speed just because I think it's more applicable to most people. I think the majority of people play on standard. I could be wrong, but that's what we're doing anyway. For the map type, I'm going to put it on Pantheon just because we want everybody to be close. Again, where this is trying to be as hard as we can, so we're going to have it that ideally have as many civilizations close to us as possible, so there's that many more chances that somebody's going to get pissy with us and try to attack. Other than that, we are going to leave it on a small map size for that exact same reason. As far as the secret societies go, I was thinking about putting this in, but then again, I thought more about it, and because it's a tutorial video, that not everybody's going to have the secret societies or like the secret societies, so this way, by leaving it out, it's just standard across the map and can be of use to anybody, whether you're playing vanilla or with the expansions or what have you. Other than that, the only thing I am going to change is I'm going to put the world age to new, just because I like more mountains and hills for the production and whatnot. And I am going to actually drop the city states down to 6 from 9, just again so that there's more of a chance that the AI will actually target us rather than city states in general. So that is that. We will get into the game here and then start talking about the different strategies and whatnot. However, again, if you don't want to listen to this next part, then definitely skip ahead. This is mainly just for the people who watch my channel quite regularly. But again, it's not specifically for them, so by all means, listen if you want to. Anyway, for those of you who do follow me, you know that my daughter is actually moving to her mom's on Saturday, so 2 days from now. And so I've been planning to really go hard with the channel now that I'm going to have a lot more free time on my hands. And so I've come up with a list of 57 different ideas, including this one, for different tutorial and videos to help people learn the game better. So I'm going to quickly go through these and then leave comments down below which ones you're more interested in learning about, so that way I can prioritize which ones I start first, because obviously 57 videos is going to take me a long time to get through. And then obviously if there's stuff here if there's stuff or ideas that you would like help with that is not on this list, then please also comment that down below so that we can add them to the list and we can get to them as well. So quickly, this is obviously the first one we're talking about. The next one's going to be my hotkey setup, just talking about obviously the setup I use for hotkeys, but talking more importantly about why I use the setup I do and how it actually helps you play the game faster and ideally play the game better, because it forces you to get in the habits of doing certain things which actually help you be more efficient and better at the game, essentially. And then how to change mod features for people who use mods, because you can actually customize which features you want to have on your mods, because a lot of the times now, especially with this new Frontier Season Pass coming out, when they release new patches, it breaks a lot of the mods. So if there's certain features on your mods that are broken, for instance, I love concise UI, however, there's certain features that don't work when they release the new patches, and the only real feature that I absolutely care about in the mod is the trading system, being able to move gold up and down. So I'm going to show people how to do that. Then how to manage gold for beginners, covering the different secret societies here, obviously like an in-depth video for each one of them. And again, that little summary video I put out earlier today was just because somebody asked me to. These are going to be in-depth and go over everything and have like very specific strategies that you can use and try out for yourself with them. Anyway, scouting for beginners, report pages for beginners, rock band strategy, great artist strategy overview, early game war, the power of policy cards and how effective they are and why you should be using them probably. Then just a general science strategy video, a general culture strategy, religion domination, my top 5 wonders, in my personal opinion, the ones I think are the best in the game. Then a series of policy card videos here that you can see for science, culture, and domination, which ones you should be using and which ones you should be basically prioritizing for it in the tech tree. Then as far as efficiency goes, covering eurekas and inspirations, different things that you can do early in the game that can set you up to speed through the later game, because if you start preparing for them earlier, it obviously makes them a lot easier to achieve before you actually reach that far in the tech or civic trees. Then again, efficiency 101, when to produce and when to wait for policy card boosts, city growth and farm triangles, my favorite promotion trees for all the different units in the game, or at least the majority of them, an Aztec overview, and I'm gonna I only put down the Aztecs, but I'll be doing other videos for all the different civilizations eventually, but I'm just starting with the ones that I have played a lot and I really enjoy and kind of know the ins and outs of them fairly well. And then covering the different great people here for the different types of games, again covering governors here, a general overview video of them all, and then specifically for each different victory condition, which governors I would suggest using and why and which order to get them in, etc. Then the same thing for city states, ones I'd suggest for each of the different victory conditions. There you go. And again, the same thing for wonders, which ones I prioritize and which different victory condition game that I'm playing for. And then tech pathing. So again, what I do for science, what I do for religious science, culture, obviously all the other games types there. And then combat strategy. So how to control units properly, the proper combination of units to use, support units and which ones are good and which ones are junk. And then prioritizing encampments when you're actually fighting and whatnot. And then espionage 101 here, so the different uses for spies, because a lot of people really neglect them. So just showing all the different things you can do and which ones I find to be the most valuable and what I'd suggest doing, etc. And then this is a very, very basic one. Just somebody was recently having some very simple problems with mods. So I was just going to do a very quick summary of literally how to search for them, find ones that you're interested in, how to install them, and how to turn them on and off. But anyways, that's 57 different videos. Sorry for rambling so long, but for those of you who did actually want to see exactly what I have planned for the channel, that is it. So again, comment down below which ones you're more interested in seeing. Again, I'm going to prioritize which videos I do based on the majority, the popular vote basically. And then again, if there's things that you would like help with that are not on this list, definitely comment them below and I'll add them to the list as well. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's jump back into the game here. So we'll get this started, and then after Sean Bean does his thing, I'll be going over the different strategies and ideas that I would suggest that I would suggest you employ. Hey everybody, Gamer Gramps here. I'm quickly interrupting just to say that if you're enjoying the video, please do me a favor and leave a like on it if you haven't already. It does really go a long way towards helping the channel get discovered, and clearly you know it by now. I'm special. I need all the help I can get, right?
Only a fool could misjudge George's true measure.
Alright, so here we go. It's the first game here. Before we get actually started and figure out what we're going to do, again, I'm going to be talking about the different strategies and ideas that I would suggest you using, and then we'll get into showing how I actually use them. So first things first, when you're first getting used to DD and you first get onto the difficulty level, I would highly suggest that you overproduce slingers, because they're obviously very quickly turned into archers and they're the best units to defend against early AI aggression. However, with that being said, I am not going to be doing that in any of these games. Like in all of these games that I'm going to be doing, again, I'm not sure how many I will end up including in the video here, because I don't want it to take forever to get through. But I'm going to be doing the complete opposite of what I preach as far as like that goes, like, because that's the number one thing to start with. Like, overproduce defensive units, it's not the most efficient way to play the game, but if it's going to help you survive, and then the more you play on DD, as long as you're surviving in your games, once you get into them, you get more used to it. And I am going to be not doing that at all. I'm going to be opening with very, very greedy builds, again, to hopefully, if I can't avoid a war, hopefully then show you how you can defend a war, even if you're not quite prepared for it. And I'm going to be obviously a lot less prepared for it than most people would, especially if you are new and are producing a lot more defensive units than I'm going to be. All right, now that that is out of the way, the first thing that you're going to want to do on every single time that you meet an AI is to send them a delegation the very first turn that you meet them. That, hands down, is the number one way to not get attacked early in DD difficulty, because like 99.9% of the time they will automatically accept. It used to be 100. In fact, I thought it was like a general rule of thumb that they have to accept your delegation the first turn you meet them. However, recently I think it was changed because I was playing a game and for some reason I tried to send Chandragupta a delegation when I first met him, and he didn't accept it. So I guess that changed recently. But anyways, most times it will work. So pay the 25 gold and send them that delegation. It will automatically start working in your the relationship in your favor right away, because that's what it's all based on. It's based on your relationship level with them, and then the modifiers to that relationship. We'll go over that in more detail when we actually meet somebody in this first game here, and we'll cover that part of it then. So the second thing that I would suggest doing, again, like every single game, all the time, if you're not looking to get into a war, again, like I personally, domination is like my second least favorite game type, so I don't play it very often. And in a perfect world, when you're playing any other type of victory, you want to avoid wars, because any production that you have to invest in defensive units is production that could be spent on things that are actually helping you win your victory condition, right? So it's essentially just throwing production down the toilet if you're producing a whole bunch of units that you don't need. So that the next thing that you're going to do is, every single time, as soon as your nearby ally discovers early empire, their borders are going to lock up. What you're going to do is pay them to open their borders back up to you immediately. Like, as soon as you notice that you get locked out, just pay that turn. You'll basically be paying on standard speed again. You'll be paying between 12 and 17 gold, like bulk gold, in order to let them do this. But again, it starts improving your relationship, and that's basically what it's about. Avoiding wars in the early game is like playing diplomacy to the utmost. And then, so the third most important thing, and again, it is a very important thing, is to look at whatever civilization you happen to meet in as your neighbor. You want to look at their leadership agenda. Like, you can only the first one is revealed. They do have other ones, but you'll have to figure that out as you go. You'll notice, like, if you clear a barb camp and you get a message saying, oh, those barbarians were a nuisance to us all, clearly they have a secret agenda you don't know about, that they like civilizations who clear barbarians, and they don't like ones who leave them around their civilizations. So it's stuff like that you'll have to figure out as you go along, because they change, I think, throughout the game. Like, I think some of the agendas are randomly generated. Don't quote me on that, though. I'm not 100%. But anyways, what I'm talking about specifically is looking at the first agenda that they always start with. Like, Cleopatra, for instance, always starts with the agenda where she hates civilizations that have small armies, and she likes civilizations that have big armies. So if you're playing a peaceful game, a lot of times you're going to negatively trigger her agenda, which is going to make it harder to keep peace with her in the early game unless you have a bigger standing army. Montezuma, for instance, Monty's another one where he's actually, a lot of people complain like in the comment section I've read before that, you know, oh, I hate spawning next to the Aztecs. They always roll on me, da-da-da-da. Like, I personally, I love it when I spawn next to him because he's one of the easiest AIs to satisfy their agenda. Like, all you have to do is, as soon as you get a luxury up online, or as soon as you get a strategic resource, whether it's horses or iron or whatever the case happens to be, just trade it to him. Like, and even with the strategics, you only have to trade him like 2 horses or 1 horse or whatever, and it still works. He just needs to have the horse, or he needs to have the iron, because if you have it and he doesn't, you're going to negatively trigger his thing. But as soon as you do trade him your first strategics or your first luxuries, you automatically satisfy his agenda, and you get a huge positive boost on the relationship level. But yeah, and then just speaking of that relationship level, the only other tip I would also suggest doing is it's not going to help you avoid wars, but it'll help you be ready for them, or at least kind of expect them more. What you're going to want to do is when you do meet the civilizations on the first turn, you're going to go into the relationship tab on, like, in the diplomacy section, and you're going to look for what the current relationship is. Like, so anything between like -3 and -6, you're pretty good to go, because that's fairly easy to overcome by doing the different positive things we talked about. For instance, another thing that I totally forgot to mention is also sending a trade route. If you're really worried or have an aggressive AI next to you, build a trader early and send it to them, because that's another thing that's going to positively impact your relationship with them and make them less likely to declare war on you. But back to the relationship thing. So between -3 and -6, it's pretty easy to overcome. -7 and worse, you can expect to get denounced and also declared war on very early. Like, you can still try to avoid it, and if you do manage to get, like, satisfy one of their leadership agendas, you can still overcome a -7 or -8 start, but it's very, very hard compared to normal. So when you see that relationship that's -7 or below, always be on the lookout to being attacked early and kind of plan for it. Just wanted to take a sec to let you know I'm now an official partner of Fanatical Games. They're a great company that you can buy 100% guaranteed official game keys from, which is great because you purchase a Steam key, so you don't have to worry about using a different installer like Epic Games or EA's Origin. You can find links in the description down below for both the Windows and Mac versions of the games I usually cover on the channel. But if you're buying anything else, just leave a comment below and I can give you a link for any game you're looking to buy. Believe it or not, they have deals on regularly that are even cheaper than purchasing directly from Steam itself. A perfect example of this is the New Frontier Pass for Civ 6. I literally bought it directly from Steam yesterday when it was launched, only to find out that it's on sale for 12% cheaper at Fanatical for the next 6 days. So before grabbing your next game, consider checking out fanatical.com to help yourself and help support me at the same time. But anyways, enough rambling about that. So again, this isn't a video about how to play the game early, like as far as like setting up your proper cities or setting like your district planning and whatnot. So I'm going to be skipping through a whole lot of this stuff, and we're just going to be jumping back into we're going to be jumping through a lot. Like, there'll be lots of cuts in the video here. I'm not going to be showing every turn. I'm not going to be discussing everything that I'm doing unless it pertains to diplomacy and how to avoid early wars, etc., etc. So with that being said, I'll just see you the next time I have something to talk about. If you've learned a lot from my videos, consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. There's 3 different choices that you can choose from, all for different prices. But for as little as $5 a month, you can help to make this channel successful and ensure that we continue to put out videos that you enjoy. All right, so I turned 3 settled. I moved from down here over to here just to get a little bit away from the volcano, and I found out the hard way that apparently volcanoes are just not going to be avoidable for our first city here. Anywho, I don't want to get rid of this rice tile because it's going to help our city grow really quickly and also get us the boost towards irrigation, which we do have luxury resources that have that. That's why I'm keeping it around there. Hopefully I'll be able to get it out or up and running. Well, I will, because I'm going to get it before the volcano starts spewing all over, because I'll be getting an early builder to do that. However, I'm going into animal husbandry here. This is another thing I did forget to mention at the very start of the video. If you're new to the game, I would highly suggest that you open up with animal husbandry, or not new to the game, sorry, but new to Deity difficulty level. I would highly suggest opening with animal husbandry. For one, it unlocks horses on the game, which are a really easy tile to improve, and they're a powerful tile. Like, especially if you get them nice and early. They're easy to improve, and they really help your cities grow. Like getting a two food, 3 production tile is a really nice thing in the early game. However, it also gets you that much closer to archery, right? So if you're really worried about getting attacked early on, I would go animal husbandry, and then I'd even dump some turns into archery if you're really concerned. That way, if things do happen and the AIs do declare war on you early, you're at least very close to archery and that much closer to getting your promotion, because you should be able to hold off an AI's early aggression with between 2 and 3 archers and your warrior, or even 2 and 3 archers and a scout or whatever. It's really pretty easy to do once you get a little bit more comfortable doing it. Other than that here, again, I'm not going to go over what I'm doing too much here. It's just bad habits. I'm used to explaining everything that I'm doing. However, we will be getting our holy site here. I want to keep that, so we're going to put it there. It will end up being a +3 holy site, and in case you don't know, that is what you're looking to get. You want a minimum +3 adjacency on all of your districts, no matter what kind of victory condition you're going for. You want +3 on your campuses, +3 on your theater squares, etc., because it allows you to take full advantage of your good policy cards that you unlock later in the game. But anyway, I'm opening up Scout here, so we're just going to keep exploring with our warrior, and I'll jump back when we have something to talk about. All right, well, it wasn't a very far jump. We're on the next turn here, and we just discovered a barbarian scout. So that's another thing that, again, I forgot to mention as well. Especially right now in the current patch, the way things are, barbarians are pretty active and aggressive, especially on DD difficulty. So normally, like in the past, I've always pretty much just used my warrior as a scout, and I go as far as I can, as fast as I can, in order to get goody huts and stuff like that. However, now, especially if you're just getting comfortable with DD difficulty, I would highly suggest not scouting too much with your warrior. Keep them fairly close to your capital city, because barb camps are going to spawn quickly, and you want to nip them in the bud, because they start spawning units very quickly, and it's easy to get overrun. And like, they won't be able to kill your capital because they can only damage it down to red health. However, if they start spewing units, it's going to make you have to build units in order to get rid of them, and it's just going to be a mess, especially, not to mention, if you're busy taking care of barbarians and then all of a sudden you do get declared on from another civilization, it's just going to be a giant you know what. So I would suggest keeping your warrior fairly close to home. I usually kind of go in a circle around my capital city, and that way I do still get to scout a little bit and kind of see city locations, but then he's right there when I need him to go after the barbarians real quick. All right, so here we are. We bumped into our first civilization, and it's John Curtin of Australia. So we're going to say it's an honor to meet him. Sure, we'd love to sample your hospitality. Now, we are so very close to him that I would suggest doing this. However, another thing that you can do too, if you bump into them not so close, what you can do is say sorry, but no at this time. And then they won't know where your capital city is, so they're less inclined to attack you because they'll have to find it manually. And so, like that, I learned that a long time ago. I think it still holds true. I'm pretty sure they haven't patched that out. But again, because he's right beside us, this doesn't matter. I'll just accept it, and there you go. So again, what we're going to do, we're exactly like I talked about. As much as I would like to buy a tile and whatnot in order to get this 2-2 going, we're going to expand there naturally enough as it is. However, I normally do like to save my gold for like purchasing land tiles or upgrading slingers into archers if I need them, etc. However, again, you're always wanting to send a delegation on the first turn. So this is what I was talking about too. If you don't know the relationship, when I was talking about coming into the relationships, this is it right here. So you have like gossip, important information about the access level, then your relationship details is this one, alliances and grievances, etc., etc. You jump over here, and there you go. This is what I was talking about before, where if you start with -3 to -6, like anywhere in that range, it's going to be super easy in most cases. Like, not all the time, don't get me wrong, because you never know. Sometimes it does happen where they do just roll on you. However, generally speaking, it's fairly easy to build a positive relationship, especially with the -3 start like this. It's, I think, pretty much the best one you can get. I'm not 100% sure on that. But anywho, we're going to send the delegation here. And again, immediately, like, so he accepts it. That's great. And you'll see right away that impact. So now we've completely counterbalanced his negative first impressions of you by setting them in delegation. And now again, everything we're talking about here is specifically towards Deity. However, this all does apply to every other difficulty level in the game. It's obviously going to be just that much more powerful for you on the lower difficulty levels, because they'll have less negative impressions of you. Like these negative impressions are because of the difficulty level that we're playing on. However, so there we go. We sent the delegation right away. That's what we're going to do. And then we'll be watching as we play along here. We'll be paying specific attention to when their borders lock up. And then I'll be sending, or sorry, not sending him gold, paying him in order to open them as soon as he closes them on us. But yeah, that's it for now. I'll jump back the next time we have something to talk about. Alright, so we just finished animal husbandry here, and I just noticed too, the volcano has become active. So as soon as we finish this scout here, instead of opening double scout like I was planning on, I'm actually going to open scout into a builder, so that hopefully with any luck I can get this rice paddy improved. I don't care if it gets destroyed. I would rather just spend one builder charge to improve it in order to boost irrigation, because we don't have any other tiles other than like here maybe that we can improve for a farm. And now again, this part isn't specifically about surviving on Deity difficulty level. However, I always try and get as many different eurekas and inspirations as you can. So what I am going to do, especially because I am getting that early builder, I want to be able to get the boost to craftsmanship in order to hurry that along. That's another thing that you can do as well, is to prioritize going for craftsmanship first, where normally I go down code of laws into foreign trade and early empire in almost all the games I play. Getting to craftsmanship early is a really good thing, because you unlock the Agoj military policy card here, where you get plus 50% production towards ancient and classical era melee, anti-cavalry, and ranged units, which is very helpful when you're trying to get an army out in time to deal with early enemy aggression. So that is what I would also suggest, is getting a builder at some point. Again, if you're newer to Deity, don't get the builder as fast as I'm going to do it if you're uncomfortable with that, but do try and prioritize it. And so what we're going to be doing, even though we are going for a religion like we talked about, I'm actually going to grab mining quickly, and that way I'll be able to, God willing, be able to upgrade the rice, the deer, and then I'll just build a random mine or whatever, and that will give us the 3 different tiles in order to get the policy card unlocked. Alright, so I just ended up getting a free scout from a little goodie hut over here, so just so you know, that's how we got our second scout, in case you're wondering when we pop back later in the future. Alright, well, the volcano spewed, but it's a gentle eruption, and only 2 tiles were fertilized, so oh, never mind. I was going to say, I think our rice is still available, but unfortunately it was the wrong 2 tiles, and we are SOL. That's okay. I'll try not to cry too hard. Alright, so we just finished Code of Laws here. So again, this is another point to talk about. Normally, myself personally, I always 100% of the time take survey, so I'm going to, because I think it's more important to get your scouts upgraded as quickly as you can, so that way they can go across the map faster and get you more era score. So I am going to be doing that here. However, again, if you're new to the game, or not new to the game, I keep saying that, if you're new to Deity and you're uncomfortable, or even if you've been playing it for a while, but you always seem to get attacked very early, I would suggest slotting in discipline in most situations, because that way you'll be able to deal with the barbarians that are nearby to you that much faster, which will leave you in a better position, because they won't be able to spawn as many units, and then you'll be in a better position in case somebody does attack you, that you'll be ready for it, or as ready as you can be anyway. So again, I go for survey first. I only slot in discipline if I do have a barb camp that's like spawning units usually, or when I get a promotion, like when I go up to the next form of government and I go into autocracy, I'll have 2 military policy slards, and I'll have 2 military policy cards, and that's when I'll slot in survey and discipline sometimes in the early game. Anywho, we could go for God King here. However, because we are going for a religion, I'm going to go for urban planning, because we'll be building our holy site soon anyway. and we'll be getting faith that way. So I'm not in a rush to get any specific Pantheon, and again, this is just for practice anyways, just for the tutorial, so don't put a whole lot of stock into what I'm doing. However, I do still explain things a little bit too much, maybe because I'm used to doing it in the other types of games that I'm playing. Alright, so now we finished mining here finally, so we're all set when we do get this builder out. So now we're going to go towards astrology. Hopefully with any luck too, between our warrior and our 2 different scouts that we have out there, we'll, with any luck, get a natural wonder discovered. So we'll hopefully be able to shave some turns off of that. In the meantime though, after this builder goes up, I'm going to go right into a settler. I would probably get another scout here normally. However, since we got the free scout, there's no point wasting production and getting a 3rd one as far as I'm concerned anyway. But again, I wouldn't suggest playing this, leaving yourself this vulnerable as I'm doing. We're doing it specifically for this tutorial to try and like get declared on in the worst possible situations. So speaking of which though, quickly checking on John Curtin here. We can take a look, and our relationship is still okay. It's fine that it's unfriendly. It's not the end of the world. On DD difficulty, you're almost always, except for like Gilgabro or something who automatically declares friendship, they're almost always going to go to unfriendly, and then it takes you a bit to overcome that and get them to where they're willing to declare friends. So that's the name of the game, because the other thing here too, just so you know, in case you're not aware, because we spawn so close to them, settling these cities that I have marked out here, it's going to piss them off. Like, they won't be able to tell us not to, because they're not going to have 30 diplomatic favors saved up. However, us settling next to them is still going to cause -3 or -5. I can't remember which one, but it's going to have a negative modifier to that relationship status. So ideally, in a perfect world, we're going to hope to declare a friend with him before we end up settling these. And in that way, again, in case you don't know, once you've declared a friendship with somebody, they're locked into not being able to attack you for 30 turns. So like, that's the name of the game. Everything we're doing here, we're trying to get to the point where they're going to be willing to accept a declared friendship with us, and then you're safe. Like, you're 100% safe for 30 turns, and even longer than that most times, because like 99.999% of the time, if you declare a friendship, you can keep that friendship for the whole game. Until the very end, when you start getting close to your win condition, then they won't always renew the friendship. So again, here, I would suggest, if you're newer to DD or uncomfortable, going for craftsmanship, especially because we are going to be boosting it here. However, I'm more interested in going to foreign trade because I want to get towards early empire so I can get the production card for settlers faster. And again, I'm more comfortable handling the aggression if they do decide to get pissy with us. Alright, so we just met Mitla here, and we did not get a first meet on them, so we know we have another civilization over here somewhere. So that's good news for us in this situation, because it's another chance to possibly get attacked early. However, because they are so much farther away, it's realistically not very likely to happen, if I'm being completely honest. Okay, and we have a barbarian camp here, so we are going to want to head over yonder and deal with that as quickly as we can. I was searching with this warrior for the barbarian camp over here that had spawned that scout that we saw, but it must be like up here or something, or either that or Australia killed it before we had a chance to get to it. So now we'll start heading over there to take care of them as quickly as we can here. So another thing you can do as well, in order to get rid of barbarian camps, like for instance, we don't have a whole lot of money right now, and we're not about to, because we don't have any luxuries that we can get up online fairly quickly, because we still have to get all the way to irrigation to get this incense hooked up. So what you can do is, if you whether you build it or you buy it, if you get a slinger, you can bring the slinger out here and just use a slinger and your scout to clear the barbarian camp right away. Because as soon as you bring your slinger, or any other ranged unit for that matter, to within 2 tiles, as long as they can have a line of sight on it, they will actually leave the barbarian hut to come out and attack, like, and engage you, and then you can just use your scout to zip in and clear the camp, and then you only have to run away from the spearmen or try and kill it with your 2 units. But just thought I'd mention that. Alright, so we did earn an envoy here from that goody hut that I just popped. However, I'm not going to spend it. For one, I like to hold on to my envoys at the very beginning in case I bump into a culture city state, because getting down the culture tree is a lot harder in the early game, so that extra +1 culture per turn is really handy. And then on top of that, like, don't get me wrong, science is nice too. However, just to me, I think science is easier to come by in most situations. And then on top of that, their quest here, trigger an inspiration for early empire. That's simple. We just need to build our civilization to 6 population. So we're going to be getting that irrigation, that inspiration pretty quickly, especially because we have some decent tiles now that the volcano spewed there and fertilized that one there. So it'll help us get to that size that much quicker. Alright, so we just bumped into Hattusa as well for the same reasons above. I'm not sending them the envoy. They have a quest to train a spearman, which is fairly easy to get if you are going for bronze working and stuff. However, I'm not too worried about it at the moment. I mean, we will be going towards it, going towards bronze working, but whether I get a spearman or not at this point, I'm not 100% sure. Probably not by the end of this little tutorial thing anyway, since I'm not playing the actual game itself. Alright, so this isn't specifically about Deity itself. However, if you do have the survey policy card here slotted in for the double experience for recon units, like I really like to do in the early game, as I already mentioned, I would highly recommend you attacking barbarian scouts anytime you see them. You're going to get 8 experience points just for attacking them, and they don't do a whole lot of damage back to you, so it's a really easy way to get your scout leveled up. But do keep in mind, once you have your scout leveled like 1 promotion, you only get 1 experience per attack on a barbarian, so it's not worth it after that. You just avoid them or let them pass by if you're not trying to get the bronze working Eureka, which again, if it's not going to completely like waste a whole bunch of your time, it does help. Like every Eureka and inspiration you can get is obviously going to help you that much faster, because you get your Civic or your technology 40% faster. Alright, we finished the builder in the capital here, so we're going to start on a settler right away like we already talked about. And now my rice dreams have gone away, so I'm just going to go ahead and build a mine here on the fertilized tile. And the scout just passed here and actually saw our capital. Like, the little exclamation mark was above them. So wherever that scout's camp is, when he gets back to it, it's going to start spawning units. So we definitely want to take care of it as quickly as we can. And I'm not sure if they fixed this, but I know in the last patch, the barbarians have actually been glitching where they've started to spawn units before the scout even gets back. Like, even if you manage to keep the scout away from the barbarian camps, they just start spawning units. So again, I'm not 100% sure whether that's been addressed and fixed or not yet, but as of like August 2020, that has been happening for the past couple months, but I haven't really noticed it in July. Like, I haven't been paying that much attention, to be completely honest, so it might or might not have already been fixed. Alright, so we just bumped into Indonesia here. That's who was near the Science City state that we had found there. So again, it's an honor to meet her. And again, you can deny these. If you say no, like I'll say no right now just for shits and giggles. Or actually I won't, because I want to see where her city is. Well, actually, you know what? We're close enough that we'll see it anyway. So I'll show you. I'll say sorry, but no at this time. You're not going to receive a negative relationship thing. Like the -8 for the unknown reason. That's not just because I said no to that. The -8 is because we are negatively impacting her agenda. So if we take a look here, she has an agenda where, like civilization, to avoid settling or conquered cities on small land masses. So it's not this agenda that we're negatively impacting right now. I'm guessing that it's a barbarian one. Like that would be like, that's just completely off the top of my head, but I'm assuming it's probably a barbarian one because we have that barbarian camp near us somewhere that scout came from, and we don't know where the camp is. But again, that's just an assumption. It's not fact by any means. So the other thing I forgot, when we first met John here, so there you go. Their first impressions of us is actually going down because we are slowly chipping away at them there. But however, we forgot to check his agenda here, which again, you want to always check this, because if you can satisfy it, you're better off and the faster you can satisfy their agenda, the faster you can declare a friendship with them and be completely secure. So his is perpetually on guard, like civilizations that liberate cities, dislikes civilizations in a war that are occupying enemy cities. So with this one, other than liberating cities, I'm not 100% sure how you go about satisfying it, unless you do liberate a city or don't start a war. And I'm not sure how long staying peaceful takes before you trigger it. So again, I'm not an expert at everything. You'll have to kind of experiment for yourself with the different agendas as you go about playing your different games. Meanwhile, though, we definitely want to send a delegation here to Guitarja before I forget to do that. So we did that, and now at least we're still at -8, so I would not be surprised at all if she denounces us very quickly in the next couple turns here, and she, out of the two of them, is clearly the most likely to try and attack us, even though she's not that close to us. She's got a long way away, and considering we have this crappy desert in the middle between us, and I'm not going to be settling in the desert, except for maybe down here if there's a nice Petra city. Well, clearly it won't be in this episode, but I'm talking about if I was actually playing this as a full game. I just would avoid this like the plague, other than maybe a Petra city over here. But I'd basically be settling down here because it looks like we have a lot of nice territory, and this kind of looks like a dumpster fire. Alright, so the scout came back. I'm wondering if he is the scout from over here, though. Hopefully he is, because he has a long way to go before he gets back. But time will tell. We're going to come through this way here, and maybe we'll find a barbarian camp, maybe we won't. Meanwhile, though, we are going to be careful with our builder here, because, again, scouts used to not take over your builders and not take over your settlers, but I think that actually might have changed in a recent patch. So I'm going to play it safe and bring him back into the capital. And of course, it was too good to be true. They ruined our planned city down here, so we are SOL with that one, and we'll have to just go ahead and focus on this. But now it is going to be tougher because they do have that other city close by. That loyalty might become an issue, but that should be fairly easy to overcome as long as we get a governor in there and get their population up as quickly as we can. So again, we struck out of luck with astrology here. In most situations, I would stop researching it like a couple turns ago. And I would just wait until I found a natural wonder, or until I either wait until I found a natural wonder, or wait until I was closer to the point where I'm actually going to start building my holy site. However, I'm just going to let it hard research for the sake of this video, because I really don't care too much, to be completely honest. Again, the less optimal I play, the harder it is, so the more you can see me in negative situations, right? Alright, so we got another barbarian camp over here just spawned near us, so that's definitely something we need to watch out for. That scout did meander away from us, so we are going to venture out and go build our camp on top of our deer resource. Alright, so we did just finish astrology here, and I bought the tile. I was actually considering saving the money for the slinger to do that trick I was talking about on that barbarian camp over there. However, we'll just go ahead and get a slinger after our settler here, since we don't have too many great spots to settle another city on fresh water. And then, so, again, in case you don't know, even if you're not going to start building something right away, as soon as you unlock the territory, or sorry, the technology, and have the spot where you want to get it, always place the district down, because that way you lock in the production cost, because every time you get either 2 technologies or 2 civics or 1 of each, the price of your districts goes up, like the price of the production required in order to build them. So you want to lock it in as early as you can. Other than that, though, we're headed right back to our settler. This is going to be a waste because... yeah. Alright, this volcano became active. I'm just going to say, forget about it. Normally, I wouldn't do this. Or sorry, not normally I wouldn't do this. I mean, normally I don't like doing chops without Magnus in the city. However, there's no point us waiting for Magnus, because chances are this volcano is going to spew just like it did over here, and this tile and the deer are going to be melted off the face of the earth. So this way at least we'll get some production towards them. So what I will do though is instead of putting it into the settler, I'll switch back into our holy site, and we're going to harvest the production into the holy site in order to get some value out of it. And then meanwhile, we're obviously, because of this, we're not going to get our boost to craftsmanship right away. We'd have to get another builder for that to happen. Now that we are done astrology, again, we'll go into archery. Chances are we'll be able to become friends with John pretty fast here. I'm not really too worried about it, but it is nice to be somewhat close to the promotion just in case, because again, it's better than being caught with your pants down, right? Another barbarian camp. Alright, well, that one's a long journey. We'll just head back and go try and deal with this one as quickly as we can. And again, here, we're just going to put it back onto the holy site and chop that before it's gone. But we'll finish our settler here. Alright, so we finished foreign trade here. And I am going to go ahead and switch our policy cards here. I'm going to put discipline in. We got so many different barbarian camps spawning up all over the place that it would be ludicrous not to. So we will go ahead and jump that in now. And it'll give our warrior a little bit of a head start here while we try and take this one out. And then we'll try and get that one next. Meanwhile, we're going straight towards early empire in order to get the colonization policy card that I talked about before. So I'm actually going to finish our holy site here before we continue on our way to get that slinger that we were talking about, just so that we can start earning some faith. We did manage to get the 20 faith there that you see. That was from a goodie hut, just so you know. Right, we found the Fountain of Youth. So that's a nice little surprise here. We already are double upgraded for our scout. However, at least that way if we get damage, we'll be able to heal up a little bit. So this is exactly what I was talking about before, where if you can satisfy their agendas. So again here, because we have not settled near the coastline or anything, we have satisfied her agendas, and that's what this is saying. You avoided the smaller shores, such differences noted and well regarded, blah blah blah. So if we take another look at our relationship with her, so that again, we're slowly wearing them down. Like they're getting used to us. They're not hating us completely. So that's why the first impressions, it was at -8 when we first started, but that's why it went down to -7. And again, now we just completed her agenda. We satisfied it. So we're getting +8. So in no time at all, she is going to be willing to declare a friendship with us. So that's a far cry away from when she was -8 and it looked like she might attack us, especially if she was closer by. Now we should be able to declare friendship with her like very soon. Let's take a quick look. She still has her borders are still open, and so is Australia's there, so we can't pay for the open borders yet in order to start boosting that even more. And meanwhile, archery will switch out of next turn once it's completely researched where the boost will finish it, and we'll be going to masonry next because I would like to get the pyramids. Again, if I was playing this game, I mean, we're not going to build the pyramids, but you know what I'm trying to say. Meanwhile, here, let's go ahead and get... Actually, we'll go ahead and get a trader. Hey everybody, Gamer Gramps here. I'm quickly interrupting just to say that if you're enjoying the video, please do me a favor and leave a like on it if you haven't already. It does really go a long way towards helping the channel get discovered, and clearly you know it by now. I'm special. I need all the help I can get, right? So we're gonna go ahead and get a trader. Again, normally I wouldn't suggest doing this on a regular basis. I'd be prioritizing other things right now. However, if you are worried about being declared war on early, especially with a neighbor that is this close here, sending them a trader is another thing that will make them a lot more friendly towards you and help you be able to declare friendship with them, which then again, like I said, as soon as you can declare friendship, you're good to go. You're in the clear. Oh, one other quick thing here. It's not specifically DD related, but just in general, it's a good tip. When you're sending your settlers out, if you have a couple cities that are planned on the map, generally speaking, you want to send them to the farthest one first, so that way they get there like quicker, and you'll have 3 cities up quicker, rather than if you send it to the closest one, it's going to take you that much longer by the time your 3rd settler comes out. to get all the way over to the farther location. So I suggest doing it that way, especially in a situation like this where you are so close to the civilizations, because they are most likely going to ruin our plans, maybe even before we get down here. Time will tell. All right, we're back here. There's nothing really important that happened in the game to talk about. I wasn't thinking, and what you can do as well, again, and in order, if you're really worried about them attacking you, you can also make a deal with them and just give them, you don't have to give them a whole lot of gold. I think in the ancient era, 10 gold should suffice. But the more gold you give them, the more, the higher an improvement on the relationship level you'll get. But we'll just send 10 gold here. And now let's take a look, and next turn it should show up, I believe, where it'll be like you've done favorable trade deals with them, and it's another positive modifier on the relationship level, which again, the quicker, the more positive modifiers you get in the relationship, the better, because the quicker you can actually declare friendship with them. So we met Willie here. I don't think he'll be attacking us anytime soon. Setting him in delegation would definitely help things out, but let's take a look here. Let's look at the relationship. So again, it's a healthy -3. That's easy to overcome. So now we know, I mean, it's Canada, so we know that unless he denounces us, he's not attacking us. But, I mean, just say it wasn't Canada. As a -3, you know he's unlikely to attack you early. And then let's take a look at his agenda. Responds to as many emergencies and scored competitions as possible, like those who also participate in such activities. Okay, so that's obviously not one that we're going to be triggering positively anytime soon. So it's just a non-situation. I'm not going to bother sending him the delegation because it's Canada. And yeah, I'm not really worried about it. Nice, we just found another goodie hut and we got the boost towards masonry, so that would help us out getting closer to the pyramids. What I'm actually going to do here, we have our scout here is promoted twice, and we have that the healing bonus from the Fountain of Youth. So I'm going to actually move onto this tile here, and hopefully this warrior will kill himself on us, and we'll be that much closer to getting the bronze working tech boost, because you have to kill 3 barbarians to get it. And meanwhile, I completely forgot to switch out of archery again. So we'll do that now and just start heading towards masonry. There we go. That's another kill on our belt. And again, because we have that, let's go ahead and we'll attack the scout here. Most likely what's going to happen is Granada will attack but not be able to kill it in one turn, and then the scout will probably kill itself on us. So that should give us the boost towards bronze working, I'm pretty sure. Unless this drought ends up killing us or something. Alright, so we're going to settle our city here. Unfortunately, for us, this is going to actually irritate John, as you see if we take a look. So we're down to -1 for our first impressions, because again, we're slowly wearing him down. We're like Steve Urkel from Family Matters. I know not all of you are old, but some of the older ones, you might get what I'm talking about. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and settle our city here, even though it's going to tick him off. And as you can see, so we get the +2 era score for there. We also have the problem with loyalty. However, once we get our 3rd city up and also get the population up here, we'll be able to overcome that, not to mention getting a governor in. And as you can see here, we want to obviously encourage population growth as fast as we can in order to counteract that. So we'll force them to work the 3 food tile, which will cut down their growth. It'll grow in 5 turns, and then that will actually give us the boost towards early empire as well. But in the meantime, what I am going to build here is I'm going to go ahead and get a builder. Alright, so he didn't attack into us, but this should do it. Oh, I guess that was only our 2nd one, my bad. Or did we already boost it? Am I crazy? No, okay, never mind. That was only our 2nd one, so when we clear this camp here in the next turn or two, we'll also get 3 air scores, so we'll secure ourselves a golden age, and then we'll also get the boost to bronze working. Alright, so this is actually bad news for us, or good news if you're looking to see me get a declared war on. There are so few people living in your empire, it must be hard to get anything done. So now that gives us, this is what I was talking about earlier, where, okay, we know no matter what, we have his one agenda that he always has 100% of the time. Well, now this shows us that his second agenda that is unknown to us, or at least one of them, because I think he has three, that the second agenda is he likes civilizations that have high populations. So there are so few people living in your empire, it must be hard to get anything done. So the more cities and the more our population grows, we'll be able to positively do that. And now, with me talking last turn, I forgot to make the deal. Remember, you want to pay for open borders. And like I said, it's generally going to take you between 12 and 19 bulk gold per turn in order to do it. And based on how much they charge you, you can kind of gauge how much they like you and how much they don't like you. Because the cheaper it is, obviously, the happier they are with you. So we're going to go ahead and do that right away. Let's take a look at the report. So apparently the that 10 gold we sent him didn't actually count. So let's go ahead and just give him 20 more. And there you go. We got a little minus or a +1 favorable trade deals to them. And it's 20 gold, well, 30 total, I guess, because we sent 10 the first time. But again, all these little things add up, right? So we pissed them off by settling near them. However, we're about to send a trade route to them as well, which, like we talked about, again, I wouldn't do this normally. However, if you're worried about getting attacked, or sorry, I should say I wouldn't build that trade route so fast normally. And then I just noticed the barbarian horse archer here. So it looks like that camp, that scout that we saw over here, he did belong to that camp over there. So they are starting to send units our way. So this should be fun. The last little bit of the era here should be a little bit interesting. We did manage to score a Pantheon here as well. We finally made it. Seeing as how we do have such a big desert and we are starting a religion, if I was playing this game, I would go desert folklore. However, I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to take fertility rights in order to get the builder in our capital and have the 10% higher growth rate. I wasn't a huge fan of that when they first did the changes to all the different when they first did the changes to all of the different pantheons. However, it's kind of grown on me. Like, if you can't get the ones, like if you don't have a pantheon that's super powerful, like, you know, the plantations one where you have like 10 different plantations that are real close that you're going to get 10 culture return, or get the settler one, or, you know, you're not doing an earth goddess game or whatever, the builder one's actually a surprisingly good one to take, because you get the builder and can do, like, you get it early and can do that much more stuff, especially if you have tiles around your capital that you want to improve like we do, because our capital's kind of really struggling here, and especially with these barbarians coming out, we want to get that production up as quickly as we can. So we're going to get 2 mines up there, and then we'll probably send him down yonder to our city over here to do his 3rd charge. So we finished that trader there. I'm immediately going to start a slinger, because now we definitely need to start working towards that. And we're going to stay on early empire, even though it might be nice to get craftsmanship up and running to get that Agoj policy card I was talking about for the boost towards our military units, especially now that we need to get them in order to deal with that barbarian camp and that one over there. However, we don't want to lose our city here, and even when the population goes up in 4 turns, it's still going to have loyalty problems. So we want to get our governor here for early empire as quickly as we can, and especially because we're going to be boosting it here in 4 turns. That's why we're staying on early empire the way we are. Alright, so we got 1 camp cleared out, now only 2 more to go, right? So that gave us the boost towards bronze working like we thought it was going to there. This scout, I think, was from this camp, so he was probably going to come suicide on our city. That's fine, and we have our slinger coming in the capital. Remember that these barbarians, although they are a nuisance, they can't do anything to us, because, like, they can only damage our capital. They can pillage our tiles, which is okay, it is what it is, but they can't kill our capital. They can only kill any of your other cities that are not your capital. They're far enough away here that I'm still going to build the mine there. However, we might duck into the city for safety going forward. Let's take another look at Johnny Boy over here and check our relationships with him. So there you go. They dislike civilizations with a low population. That's, like we said, when he sent us that message, we figured out what it was. So I'm not sure exactly what he considers a high population. Maybe it is 6. Like maybe it is triggering early empire will be enough to, in the early game, to trigger it positively. I'm not sure. We'll have to see as we go here. All right, and we're just gonna let them do their thing and bang on our doors there. I am going to go ahead. Oh, actually, you know what? Or no, we already had the boost towards masonry. Never mind, I forgot about that. I was going to say I'd build the quarry here in order to get the boost towards masonry. However, I'm going to buy this tile just because I don't want to needlessly build one here when we're going to do a government, or when we would do a government plaza there anyway. So I'll just build the mine here next turn. Here, we'll go ahead and take our promotion for Battle Cry, and then we'll start making our way back up towards the capital, and I'm just going to put these scouts on automated exploration because I don't care. There you go, we hit our timer, we have 10 turns left. Gatarja is not quite friendly, so she probably won't accept this, but we can try. Yeah, and we're getting close, but she's not quite there. And John, again, obviously, we got a ways to go, especially settling near him didn't help. But again, like, this is to show you that, okay, we pissed him off by settling, like by forward settling him, and we're still doing other things, like all the different diplomatic things, like paying for the open borders here and sending that delegation right away, sending him that 30 bulk gold in order to trigger that, and then the trade route as well. These are all things that you can do in order to mitigate the negative relationship status modifiers, which is what actually forces, well, not forces them, but what actually encourages them to attack you, right? And then, like I said, the sooner that you can get them to a state where they can declare a friendship with you, the better, because you're locked in safety for basically the rest of the game. I'm going to come out the back way here with the warrior, just so that we don't get swarmed by these horse units. Alright, so we got early empire. So let's take a look at the relationship status here and see if 6 is enough to trigger him, and apparently not, so it is what it is. However, because we do have early empire now, that's weird, we have early empire, we should be able to sell our, oh, never mind, my bad. We got the boost for early empire, we haven't researched it yet. Yeah, I know, I tell you, I'm special, and I really, really do mean it. Anyway, our slinger finished here in the capital too. I'm actually going to scoot over to our holy site because he's coming here to pillage it. So the horse should kill himself on us. I don't think he can one-shot a slinger. So after that, I'll run back into the capital as quickly as I can. Meanwhile, we will definitely start work on another slinger there. And since we expanded, I'll just do it here in the capital anyway, since we have the population. Alright, so, oh, that's another thing too. I forgot to mention, in case you don't know, they actually, in this most recent patch, like when the Ethiopia DLC came out and the patch came out with it, they have improved the barbarian AI. Like, this is a prime example of it right there. That horseman, like, for the last however many years that the game has been out, he would always kill himself on our unit. Always, 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 without a second thought. And just like they would always throw themselves against your city until they completely die, they just like suicide on you. They have actually improved the AI, which I'm so happy about. Like, anytime they improve the AI, I'm like, yeah, anyway. See, I'm trying not to swear in this video because I'm trying to make it not get suppressed by having foul language, because I have to, anytime I curse in a video, I have to actually mark that I have profanity in the video, and it's less likely to get sent out to more people. So I'm trying to mind my manners, because this isn't just me playing the game, it's me doing a tutorial that I want lots of people to see. Which is really hard for me to do sometimes, because if you're a fan of the channel, you know I don't have the biggest filter sometimes. But anyway, so I'm very, very happy to see that they have improved that, because again, like, even if there was more units here, they would only attack down to when they're red, and then they actually cycle themselves out. Like, they'll withdraw from being right next to your city and whatnot, and they'll wait till their unit heals up before trying to attack again. So that is actually a really cool thing to see. So that's fine. We will go ahead and finish him off there. And meanwhile, I totally forgot that we were building a slinger here, so that's actually a little bit unfortunate for us, because it's going to turn into an archer now, and our production on it is going to cost more. However, it is what it is. It probably will be okay in the long run anyway, because now we can upgrade our slinger to an archer and help deal with these a lot quicker next turn once we have some cash. See, I told you. That's why I chopped that forest, because the forest and the deer that was on top of it would have been melted like glue here. So at least we got that production out of it, and we're able to put it into our holy site and get some use of it. Meanwhile, I'm actually going to move our fellow here one tile over, and then I'm going to promote him. And I'm actually going to sit here with our warrior, and I'm going to just put our builder to sleep instead of building that light, so that we're going to go this horse archer to come across here and take our builder, and then we're going to kill them and take our builder back. And this is another tip that I would suggest when you're playing whatchamacallit, domination games. Bring civilian units with you. Builders are obviously the easier choice, but even a settler works for this. You can like bait them into attacking your civilian units and get free shots on them and help your combat units survive longer. So it definitely is a nice little thing to do. Alright, so there we go. They fell for our trap here, and they're nice and sitting pretty on a hill for us, so we're going to start smashing them with the archer, and we'll hit them and finish them off with our warrior and take our builder back, and next turn we'll build our mine. Alright, so as you can see here, we're one turn away from getting our governor, which we should be able to take care of this loyalty problem, not to mention we're 5 turns away from the classical era where we have a golden age, and that should help with our loyalty as well, but not the end of the world. Meanwhile, before I go ahead and build this mine, yeah, it's still better than over there. If that was a hill, I forgot that it was flatland because we chopped everything off of it. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and build the mine here. But that gave us that boost that we were looking for. Not to mention help get our archer out that much quicker. So that is always a good thing. And again, this is all you need here. Like, say for instance, worst case scenario that they were to go we would get in a war with Australia. 2 archers and a warrior should be more than enough to hold off their early aggression. Because we are so close, though, I would probably like 3 archers, because I would like a melee unit and an archer in this city, and then a melee unit and an archer over here, or 2 archers in one of the cities, which should be more than enough to defend yourself from them nice and early. Alright, so we finally got early empire. We're going to switch out of urban planning and put in colonization, because we would like to get that boost toward and get our 3rd city out, because we're a little bit behind times here. We'll go ahead and confirm the policy cards. Again, I'm not playing this game to actually play it, but I'm trying to explain it as if I would. Let's go ahead and finish off that scout there. And meanwhile, work towards writing. And let's go ahead and take our governor title, and we're going to go ahead and take Magnus first. Because what I would do with this city, I would use Magnus here to chop out, especially with our builder coming and everything. I would use him to chop out the holy site and the buildings and stuff and get it up and running that much quicker, and then send him over here to help us get the pyramids. But again, I'm not playing this, I'm just saying. Sorry. So we'll head towards craftsmanship next. With this archer, we're going to head over to our 2nd city over there, just in case they were to go bat poop crazy, that we'd be ready and able to defend ourselves. Because again, these barbarians really don't matter. Like, they're at our capital. The worst they can do is pillage our tiles, which, I mean, the volcanoes are doing that enough for us anyway, so really, what do we have to lose, right? And you know what? I'm going to actually go ahead and send our warrior over there as well, since we have the archer coming up in the city. So we'll go ahead and take a shot and finish off the horse there. And let's go ahead and grab another archer just for the heck of it. Actually, you know what? We're going to switch out of the archer here. We're not going to do that because we wait. Like, this is another thing that I talk about, efficiency. It's like, okay, we want the archer now. It's going to be 5 turns without that production. But why would I spend the 5 turns building an archer without that policy card on when I could have 50% higher production if I, for instance, because we're going to want to get the shrine or the pyramids if I was more interested in like whatever I want to prioritize next, that we don't have like I mean, okay, technically there is a policy card that boosts the pyramid, so that doesn't really work, but shrine would be the better example. Okay, like we do want to get a shrine because we're trying to get a religion, especially because we are a little bit late to the party here. So I would prioritize building the shrine until we get that policy card, and then once we get the policy card, that's when I would use the boost of production in order to get that archer in faster, and ultimately you're saving yourself production because you're building the unit that with the policy card that has a boost. Sorry, you're building a unit when you have the policy card that gives the boost slotted in, so it just makes more sense to do it that way. Meanwhile, we were trying to run from these barbarians. I guess it's not in the cards until one of Lisbon's troops is kind enough to move out of our way. Well, at least they were sweethearts. But there we go. This is game number 1 down. But there you go. That's game number 1 down. We started with the civilization who was immediately beside us. And oh, I forgot we did have open... and even with me totally forgetting to send him the open borders here, when we got early empire a couple turns ago, we should have made him pay us for it. We'll take bulk gold though, just because we have stuff that we could do with it. But again, once like when you pay for their open borders, it does start helping the relationship, even though it doesn't show up. But then when you give it back to them, you get the full +3 towards that relationship. So now you can see, even though we are negatively triggering one of his agendas, so he has -9 altogether, we now have -9 favorable. So at least he's unlikely to declare war on us. And then again, as we continue to go along, hopefully we could trigger an agenda and whatnot, and then kind of overcome that, because ideally you'd like to declare friendship with them as quickly as you can. So I'm not going to edit this part out. I am just gonna, so there's no shenanigans, nobody doubts it. We are literally just gonna hit the restart and just click yes, and we're gonna all sit here and listen to Sean Bean do his thing, and you can just skip forward if you don't want to hear it. We'll wait until the game loads and you'll see me go into it, so that there's no behind the scenes cutting and editing to get a good start.
Stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest, from this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars. Fierce Tamar, only a fool could misjudge.
All right, so here we go. You know I didn't freaking somehow make it magically work in my favor. So here we go. This is what we're going to be starting with. And again, so I'm going to be talking a lot less, and I'm going to be skipping through these turns a lot more in this game, and just specifically focusing on exactly like the diplomatic, like what we're doing in order to not to get declared war on, etc., etc., because quite frankly, I'm pretty sure that took a long... I almost said something I'm trying not to say. I'm pretty sure that took a long time to get through that previous little playthrough there. And again, I don't want this thing to be like 5 hours long. But anyway, we'll talk when we have something to talk about. All right, so surprise, we're back on the other game here. We will jump forward to that start as soon as we're finished here. What I am going to do, I did forget to mention one thing too. The reason why it's so important just to survive the early game in Deity is because once you do get to the classical era, and the farther along in the game you get, The other civilizations are less likely to attack you because they incur grievances and they're just programmed to not want to do that very often. So especially too, it also helps as you do declare friendships. Like I don't think we're quite, I don't think we're quite ready for her yet, but as you do get friendships declared and whatnot, they are also less likely to attack you because then you can a lot of times pull your friends into the war with you, and it just, that's the way it works, that they are a lot less inclined to attack you. But that's not why we loaded back into this game. The reason we loaded back into this game is because just on the off chance that somehow I don't get attacked in the next game or two, because I'm thinking now with how long this one took that I'm only going to do 2 more games because this is already absurdly long. So anyway, we are just going to go ahead here and denounce our neighbor, and then in 5 turns we're going to attack him. I could just declare a surprise attack here, but again, for that same reason, we want to minimize the amount of grievances we generate because it's going to piss off our neighbors, which we are trying to avoid. But so that's what we're going to do here, just so I can show you that, you know, we can defend ourselves with very minimal units. And yeah, that's what we're going to be doing quickly here. So I'm not going to play a whole lot of it, but we'll play long enough until I declare war, and then after the war is declared, we'll play for a little bit longer in order to show you that it's not the end of the world, and you can survive with minimal units on Deity difficulty. Oh, totally forgot, because I don't play with Georgia, that she has a special thing here where when you earn a golden age, you may make a dedication, but then you also get to pick whichever one you do pick. You get the weight to boost air score in order to chain golden ages and make it really easier with her. So I'm not used to seeing this screen at all look like this. I would normally take Monumentality Golden Age. However, I think the quickest way, if I was playing with Georgia, I would take, because we don't have a high faith income as of yet, I would take Exodus of the Evangelists for now, because it's going to help us get our religion with the +4 great prophet points per turn. And I'm going to have to go deal with my dogs. So, but anyways, and then also we would be getting +2 air score each time you convert a city to your founded religion for the first time, and we're going to be converting all of our cities to our religion, so that would help us really get the next golden age fairly easily. So that's why I would choose this one. Alright, so we got bronze working. We just met Genghis Khan on our... Ooh, he's at war with John Curtin, so that's actually a really good thing for us too. But however, we just met him on the previous turn. Like, we weren't on our turn, we met him during the computer turn. He moved into our vision, so we can send him a delegation and he'll accept it. So again, let's check the relationship. So -6, so he's on the higher end of the still good range of the relationship things here, but you can see that because we denounced an enemy of his, we actually get +6 with him right off the hop, so we completely counterbalance that, which is good. We sent him a delegation, which again is good. It is going to help us to progress. And so again here, now that we both have open borders, he'll do it that way. Let's see if he'll give us some gold for it, and he won't. So what we will do though is we are going to just pay him for open borders. You can see, because we're in a good relationship, he's only going to charge us 1 gold for it. And then once our relationship, like in a turn or two, once we've had sometimes for the positive relationship modifiers to impact him, he'll actually pay us for our open borders more than he would have just there, like you saw. So the other thing here too, because again, a lot of people worry when you get aggressive civilizations next to you. Genghis Khan is another one who he's actually a darling. I love it when Genghis settles next to me, because I know it's like a guaranteed declared friend almost, because if you take a look at his agenda here, the horse load, he wants to build the world's most dominant cavalry force, likes those who do not compete in cavalry, dislikes those who rival him in cavalry strength. So as long as you're not going for some super high-powered domination game where you're building lots of cavalry, it is super easy to satisfy that agenda. So you're going to see here very shortly that there will also be a plus, another huge positive bonus, because we will be positively, we'll be completing that. Oh my, I can't even talk right now. It's like 5 in the morning here. But anyways, we will be satisfying the requirements for that agenda in order to positively impact our relationship. Wow, I need to get some sleep soon here. But anywho, so that is that. That is why we're going to go ahead and do that. We got bronze working because I figured, you know what the heck? I guess we'll have to wait. Let's actually go ahead and sell Genghis some of our horses here. Oh, never mind. We don't have horses. He has the horses. My bad. I do need sleep. Well, never mind then. We are sort of SOL as far as that goes for right now. So I think because we took that golden age too, let's take a look at great people here. So there's two great prophets have already gone by. So we will definitely, if you take a look here, like they are probably the unmet one who has founded their holy city or whatever. So we are getting 5 great prophet points a turn. We will have our religion founded in no time. And we just finished bronze working, and it doesn't look like we are lucky enough to have any iron either. If we do settle this city, we will have some iron there. Hey everybody, Gamer Gramps here. I'm quickly interrupting just to say that if you're enjoying the video, please do me a favor and leave a like on it if you haven't already. It does really go a long way towards helping the channel get discovered. And clearly, you know it by now, I'm special. I need all the help I can get, right? Alright, so we were starting to build a monument here because our culture is really brutal at this point since we only have 2 cities up and running. However, we want to get working on that holy site now that Magnus is established in the city. So we're going to pop over to the queue. We're going to get rid of our monument out of there so we're not producing anything in the city here. You can see nothing is currently being produced. And if you take a look, our holy site is 22 turns at the moment. So we're going to harvest this stone here because that's where we want to put our holy site anyway. And now you can see it's down to 12 turns, so all that production went into the holy site, which is great for us. And we are going to continue that going forward. We'll come here and harvest the stone next and help get that taken care of nice and early. But yeah, that is a little trick there in case you didn't know about doing that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and drop an encampment just for the hell of it. I'm not really worried about it because we're only going to be playing for a little bit. Oh, speaking of which, we can go ahead and declare the war here because it's been 5 turns. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So declaring war on Deity difficulty level with 2 archers and a warrior. And I mean, again, this is kind of now that I didn't realize that Genghis Khan was at war with him. So this is actually a little bit anticlimactic because if you look at his military strength, it's 38. So, yeah, like I don't even think that there's really a point in playing this now that I'm thinking about it because of that war. Like you can see, he's almost losing his capital city here. So we'll poke forward with our troops here, but I think we'll probably just jump to the next game here within a turn or two because there's not going to be much of a risk of him doing anything. And he obviously, with 38 military strength, 19 military strength now, isn't going to be able to pose any sort of risk. So actually, yeah, you know what? There's no point me doing this at all. So it was a good idea. It's a thought that counts, I guess. We'll just jump back to the start of the next game that we were going to jump into. Hey everybody, so I'm coming at you from the other side here. We are actually going to be putting a cut into the video because it's just way too long to pack this all into one. I'll link in the top right hand corner right now. It'll be part 2. When it first comes out, it won't be up for another day or 2 at least, but it will be there eventually. For now, I'll just throw a link to another video in. I have a series of tip videos that are like short 10-minute tip videos that have like 5 tips in each video that can help you get better at the game. So if you're interested, check that out. But then in a couple days, once episode 2 is out, that will be linked there for anybody who sees this in the future. Other than that, though, if you haven't already, please do me a favor and leave a like on the video. It really does go a long way towards helping a small channel like me get discovered. And clearly, I could use all the help I can get. But better yet, even if you could share it to somebody, if you have friends who play the game or you're in some sort of group, whether it's on Discord, Reddit, Facebook, wherever, getting it out there really does help and I'd appreciate it. But other than that, I'm going to stop begging. And to give you a little teaser, though, there is war, like real war, in one of the next 2 ancient eras that I play. So there will only be 2 of them in the next one. But hopefully this is helping you out. Hopefully you're learning a lot. And I've definitely done my share of rambling, at least for this video. So I'm going to shut up now and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.